If I had to pick a tripod to take into the field, I would take the QDT with a couple spare gaskets. They're both good tripods. Remember, I'm comparing a good tripod with a good tripod. These both survived all the tests and only had to be repaired once. I have a love-hate relationship with tripods. The two best that I could find were the Two Vets QDT and the Really Right Stuff Anvil 30. Out of all the tripods that I've tried, these ones have performed the best. So again, we're comparing good with good, but I want to talk to you about what I saw with both of these. The Two Vets, I've been shooting their tripods for a while. What I've noticed is that they deploy great, they work great, but the gaskets inside the legs wear out. Cool thing is, if you call them up, within 2 or 3 days you get new gaskets and they're easy to replace. Worst case scenario for me so far has been in a match where I just pulled the leg out and it fell down and I had to struggle to get it back in, and it cost me some time, but it still managed to work all right. It's very fast to deploy. Compared to the Really Right Stuff one, you can get this to a good height much faster, and you can get it down to prone and shoot it prone very easily. I attached a Really Right Stuff ball head to it because it's the only ball head that has survived my testing. So these both have the exact same ball head on them, but as you can see, this one's easy to mess around with. You can get it to all heights. You could shoot it prone to above standing. It's sturdy, so if you want to create a crossbar on a thing, when I'm training a lot of times, you know, create a bar to shoot off of, and I can support weight on this with a bag. Overall, this is definitely my favorite one, so if you don't want to watch the whole video, this came in #1 by a long shot. The only issue that I've had with any of the Two Vet stuff is wearing out of the gaskets, but if you order those in advance, you can have them in your kit and they're very, very easy to replace. Really Right Stuff Anvil 30. Just like the Two Vets, I've blown out the gaskets and sent them back. They're easy to fix. The grips on these are amazing. The tactile grip that you get on it is by far better than anything that I've ever grabbed onto. These gaskets, they come out of the base, and although I haven't had an issue, it's kind of frustrating to have a $1,500 tripod, $1,300 tripod with shit that kind of falls out of them and fills up with dirt. It's just obnoxious so far, but that does happen with these when you deploy them and those things fall out. I sent it back for repairs once and it took about 6 weeks. So the things that I needed fixed from Daniel at Two Vets, he sent them to me and I was at my house within 2 days. I had to wait for this to get repaired for about 6 weeks. So if it has to get fixed and you send it back to them and they can't just send you replacement parts, it takes a hell of a long time. Let's take a look at the profiles here. This is much narrower, and apparently they make a platform like this, whatever you would call this, that the ball head itself attaches to. The ball heads work great. In fact, they're the only ball head I haven't broke or stripped, so I can't say anything bad about these particular ball heads. But this base provides a much sturdier platform. This is much narrower, and you'd think it's no big deal. Shooting clipped into the tripod, they're about the same, but if you put a bag over it like I do, this is much less stable. And you could see that immediately at 100 on paper. The groups on the Really Right Stuff tripod were consistently a 1/10 larger compared to the one with the wider base every single time. But this wasn't just a single test, this was every single time we took it out on paper. The Really Right Stuff performed 1/10 to 2/10 larger groups everywhere. The grasslands, the mountains, where it was wet, where it was dry, and the snow and the sun at the range here, every single time. And at a competition like Assassin's Way, when we don't know what's coming, we want to make damn sure that the equipment that we're taking out performs the way that we expect it to all the time. A little bit of an advantage could be huge when it comes to unknown challenges like that. And that's why they have to be put through the ringer like this. They have to be tested repeatedly and held to a very high standard, no matter what. These got beat down with hundreds and hundreds of rounds and consistently produced similar results, but the edge always went to the Two Vets tripod for me. And that's why I think that if I toe the line in Assassin's Way with a tripod, the clear winner is the Two Vets. The criteria that were very important to me were deployability, reliability, stability, how the rifle performed clipped in, not clipped in. Was it easy to maneuver from one position to another? Was it quick? When I left the rifle clipped in, how much wobble was there? When it was windy, wet, cold, hot, how did they perform? Were they easy to get in and out of positions, change positions, adjust with the rifle clipped in? How much troubleshooting did I have to do every time I took out versus get comfortable with how they worked and then be able to do that repeatedly when I was tired and not thinking straight? These things are very important to me when considering gear for Assassin's Way. This is The Craft. Like, subscribe, share.